الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد بعض الأوصاف بعض الأوصاف المنهي عنها في البيع بعض some الأوصاف the plural of wasf and we know the word sifat right awsaf some of the descriptions al-manhi which are prohibited anha from them fil bay'. So some of the descriptions of some of the prohibited manners or transactions in buying and selling. Al-Hadith al-Thamin wa Khamsun ba'da miyatain, the 258th Hadith, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال. This hadith is on the authority of Abu Hurairah. May Allah be pleased with him, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, لا تلقوا الركبان لا تلقوا الركبان. Do not meet the riders, meaning those people who are in the city. Do not go out and meet those who are coming into the city. Ar-rukban, the riders, the people who are coming in with the products from outside of the city. Talaqaw from la lam qaf alif maksura laqiya. Here talaqaw, this is form 5. La talaqaw ar-rukban. Do not go out and meet the riders. Wala yabi' ba'dukum ala bay'i ba'd. Wala yabi', and do not buy or make a transaction, ba'dukum, some of you, ala bay'i ba'd, upon the transaction of others, meaning, and it will be explained, but here don't make a sale over the sale of your brother, meaning someone next to you or someone is buying something, he buys something for 10 and the seller next to him says, hey, I'll give it to you for 9, meaning don't try to undercut your brother in buying and selling. Wala tanajashu. Wala tanajashu. Tanajashu comes from noon, jim, sheen. This is form 6, meaning to bid on something and you don't want it. You just want to raise the price in order to either help the seller or harm the buyer. So I don't really want it. And we see this all the time if we look at auctions and stuff that appear on TV and online. People just raise the price because they don't like the person who is bidding. They don't really want the item, but they bid because they know that person really wants it, just to raise the price on them and to make them not have as much profit. Wala tanajashu. Wala yabi' hadirun libadin. And do not let a hadir from hadra, meaning someone who is hadir, someone who lives in the city, someone who is a city dweller. Do not let a hadir buy or sell libadin, for a Bedouin, someone who lives outside of the city. He does not transact on his behalf. And some of this will be explained below. وَلَا يَبِعْ حَاضِرٌ لِبَادٍ. And do not let a city dweller transact on behalf of a Bedouin. وَلَا تُصَرُّ الْغَنَمْ. وَلَا تُصَرُّ الْغَنَمْ. Sarru is from Sadra. This is to hold, like to hold the milk. Al-ghanam, tusarru is to where you would maybe not milk the cow or the camel or the sheep or the goat. You would not milk it for a couple days. And this could be harmful for the sheep as well, right? When they need to milk, they need to milk. So to not milk them, and so that their teats will become full. And when a person looks at it, says, oh man, they produce this much milk every day, right? And so they think, yeah, this is a good animal. I want to buy this, but only because you withheld from milking it, right? You withheld from milking it for a certain number of days just to make it look big. So al ghanam is cattle, right, or sheep and stuff like this, right? ولا تصروا الغنم. Do not uh, trap the milk basically inside them like this. ومن ابتعاها ومن ابتعاها. And we should put a kasra on this noon for reading purposes. Otherwise, we have a sukoon on the noon and then a sukoon on the ba. ومن ابتعاها. And whoever buys it, meaning buys this animal which has been, the milk has been trapped inside of it, فهو بخير نظرين. So then he has a choice. فهو, then he بخير, meaning he has the choice, another rain, between two decisions, two opinions, another, two things he can look at, right? There's two things he can look at to do. بعد أن يهلبها بعد أن يهلبها, after he has milked it, meaning he milks it and then he finds out this cow, this is not producing this milk every day. He must have withheld the milk for a couple of days to make it look big. So what does he do after he finds this out? Because the teats were real big one day and then he milked it, and then the next day they were just tiny. They weren't that big. So what can he do? وَإِنْ رَضِيَهَا أَمْسَكَهَا. وَإِنْ, if he رَضِيَهَا, like radiyallahu anhu, right? Radiya. If he is pleased with it, أَمْسَكَهَا, then he keeps it. He can cling on to it. From meme, seen, kaf. أَمْسَكَهَا, form 4. وَإِنْ سَخِطَهَا وَإِنْ سَخِطَهَا, but he's not pleased with it. From seen, kha, ta, which can mean anger, or basically the opposite of radiya, which is to be pleased with. وَإِنْ سَخِطَهَا, and if he's not pleased with it, raddaha, then he returns it. وَصَاعًا مِنْ tamr, and a sa of tamr. He did take some milk. He did get some benefit from it, right? And he's returning the animal as it was. So he returns the animal. He gets his money back. But since he did take some milk, right, the full bladders of milk when they were withheld, as well as maybe the next day he took some, then he returns the animal with a sa, which is 4 amdad, 4 double handfuls, 4 double handfuls of dates. So it gives him a little bit extra back for the milk that he took. وفي لفظ, and in another wording, هو بالخيار ثلاثا. And in another wording, هو بالخيار, he has a choice, ثلاثا, for 3, meaning 3 days. He has 3 days to make this decision. الحديث التاسع والخمسون بعد 200, the 259th hadith. عن عبد الله بن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with both of them, meaning him and his father. قال, he said, نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم prohibited, and تتلقى الركبان, that the riders who are coming in to sell stuff from outside the city, that they should be gone out to and met, that they should meet them outside of the city limits. وَأَنْ يَبِيعَ حَاضِرٌ لِبَادٍ, and that a resident, a city dweller, should sell on behalf of a Bedouin. قَالَ قُلْتُ لِإِبْنِ Abbas, so the narrator of this hadith, he said, I said to Ibn Abbas, مَا قَوْلُهُ حَاضِرٌ لِبَادٍ, what's the meaning of a city dweller on behalf of a Bedouin? قَالَ لَا يَكُونُ لَهُ سِمْسَارًا, then he does not become for him a simsar. He's not a simsar, meaning a broker, right? He becomes a broker for him. He doesn't become basically a broker for him. طيب. المعنى الإجمالي, the general meaning of this, عباد Allah, O worshippers of Allah, في هذين الحديثين, in these two hadith, al-jalilain, these two lofty, magnificent hadith, ينهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم prohibited عن خمسة أنواع من البيع المحرم. He prohibited from 5 types, أنواع, the plural of نوع, noon, wow, ain, 5 types of prohibited transactions. And he's not going to list them directly below, so we'll go back in a second, inshallah, and we'll do that. طيب. لما فيها, due to what is in them, لما, due to what فيها, what is in them, meaning these types of transactions, من الأضرار, from harms, العائدة, which go back to على البائع, go back to the buyer, أو المشتري, or the بائع is the seller, أو المشتري, the buyer, أو غيرهما, or other than them. It could go back, the harm could take place for other than them. Okay, before we get into the fawaid, let's see what these 5 transactions are real quick. أولاً, firstly, لا تلقوا الركبان, don't go out and meet the people who are coming into the city to sell. That's first. ولا يبيع بعضكم على بيع بعض, and do not let one of you undercut the sale of another. So undercutting him. So you find someone already made a deal. I'll sell it to you for 10. He already made the deal. You come and say no, 9. It's different if he hears it and he does it in the beginning before you agree. But once you agree, he says, how much you pay that for? 10? No, I'll buy it for 9. So then you take it back or something like that. No. So this is 2. Don't go out and meet the riders and do not undercut one another. وَلَا تَنَاجَشُوا, and do not outbid one another when you don't want the product, trying to harm that person or trying to help the buyer, the seller. The seller is your friend and you want him to get the most money out of it, so you act like you're interested in order to get the price up. Or you don't like the person that's buying it, so you bid against him just to get him to pay more because you know he really wants it. That's 3. Number 4, لا يبيع حاضر لباد, don't let the city dweller sell or buy on behalf of the Bedouin. That's 4. ولا تصروا الغنم, and do not withhold the milk for a number of days in order to make it look like its bladder is more full, right? So those are the 5 transactions. طيب. من فوائد وأحكام الحديث, أحاديث الحديثين, from the benefits and rulings of the 2 hadith. أولاً, firstly, النهي, the prohibition عن تلقي القادمين للبيع سلعتهم. النهي, the prohibition عن تلقي, on going out and meeting, القادمين, going out and meeting those who are coming to the city, القادمين, those who are coming, لبيع, in order to sell, سلعتهم. Sil'a is goods, products, right? Sil'a, sin, lam, ain, sil'a. Here it has a ta marbuta. Sil'atihim. They're coming in to sell their goods. You go out and meet them. وَالشِّرَاء مِنْهُمْ, and buying from them. قَبْلَ أَنْ يَصِلُوا إِلَى السُّوق, before they meet the suq. So you cannot go out and meet them outside of the city limits before they come and they reach the marketplace. فَالنَّهْيُ يُفِيدُ التَّحْرِيمِ. So the prohibition here is not a prohibition of something being makruh, which sometimes happen, disliked. Rather, this is a prohibition of being absolutely prohibited. And the reason for this is the person coming into the city may not know the market price. So for instance, they have a bag of rice, it's worth $10 inside the city. $10 is a good price. You come out there and you buy it from them for $8, and they don't know what it's really worth. So they figure, okay, 8 is good. You know, that's what I was kind of hoping to get, 8, not knowing that the price is really 10. And so because you went out and met them, you can kind of like control what they're able to get and buy the products from them instead, and they don't know what their product is worth. ثانيا تحريم البيع, the prohibition of buying and selling على بيع Muslim, upon the bay of another Muslim, right? To try to sell something, as we said, for a cheaper price to him. وهو أن يقول لمن اشترى سلعة بعشرة, and it's so that if he said someone that bought an item for $10 or 10 reals or 10 junay, whatever it is, عندي مثلها بتسعة, I have similar to it for 9. So you're trying to undercut the other seller. ثالثا, thirdly, النهي عن تسرية اللبن في ضروع بهيمة الأنعام, the prohibition on tasriya, withholding the leban, trapping in the milk. في ضروع, inside the teats, ضروع ضاد را عين, the ضروع is the teats of بهيمة الأنعام, the animals of cattle, basically, right? The cattle. عند البيع وللمشتري الخيار ثلاثة أيام. So the prohibition of withholding, you can do it for yourself. If you want to withhold the milk for yourself, so that for whatever reason, right, you think maybe to cause them to, you're smart and you think if I withhold the milk and you know how stuff works, and then it'll cause the animal to create more milk or whatever the case might be. You could do it for yourself, but when you're trying to buy and sell it, then no, right? And lil mushtari, for the one who's buying it, right? Al khiyar, he has the choice. Thalathata ayam, he has choice for 3 days. He gets to he takes 3 days to decide what he wants to do. In radiyaha amsakaha, if he's happy with it, he keeps it. When sakhitaha, if he's angry with it, faraddaha ma sa min tamr, and then he returns it. If he's not pleased with it, he returns it along with the sa of dates. Fourthly, Rabian, yufidu hadha al-hadith, this hadith benefits us, it gives the benefit, and kulli bay'in, that every transaction, yaqa'a fihi at-tadlis, that there's some type of deception inside of it, fahuwa muharram, then it is prohibited. Anything that has any type of deception in it is prohibited. Wa khamisan, fifthly, an-nahi an an-najish, the prohibition of a najish, wa huwa ziyada, and it is an increase, men from the one la yuridu shira as-sil'a, the one who does not want to buy, la yuridu, he does not want shira as-sil'a, he doesn't want to buy the item, the goods, the products, fi thamaniha, right? He doesn't want to buy it in its price. وَذَلِكَ لِنَفْعِ الْبَائِعِ, and that is in order to, he doesn't really want to buy it, he doesn't really want to pay for it, he's just bidding. وَذَلِكَ لِنَفْعِ الْبَائِعِ, and that is so that he can benefit the seller, that's his friend or something like that. Oh, al-idrar bil-mushtari, or in order to harm the one who's buying it, right? He's either helping the seller or harming the buyer. هذا والله تعالى أعلم, وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.